you ready? I'm Sarah Peterson here with Mike Carpenter, president of Asset Guard. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a great day to talk about living out your purpose in retirement. I love the way that you approach this. To me, it is so refreshing in this crazy world we live in to take a little bit of the worry out of it.
The planning process that I use with my clients started with me over 40 years ago in a family business that I worked with my father.
How's that possible when you're only 25?
I wish. But I've been paying into Social Security for 47 years. So since 1975, when I first started working, I started realizing a whole lot of things. And I was very fortunate to be a part of a family business, but there came a time where I had to step out on my own. Now, did I plan on stepping out on my own? No. Life happened. My mom passed away, my dad remarried, and a bunch of things happened in our family at the time that caused me to say, I need to step away from this. And that's when my wife and my daughter and I moved to North Carolina from Washington, D.C. to start our new life. And we love being in North Carolina, and I love being a retirement planner.
What do you love most about it? What draws you to this business?
It's helping people to realize there's more than just money. You don't need to worry about money. As a matter of fact, I try to encourage my clients to have their bills paid ahead 1 or 2 months for planning reasons, but so that you're not worrying. There's no reason with the proper written income plan, there's no reason to worry about anything in life.
You know, at a time where the world is in sort of such a state of disarray, we have enough anxiety, fear, worry in everyday life. It's nice to know that when we can properly plan in regards to our finances, we might be able to sort of live out these dreams without this worry.
Well, in our retirement book, our what we call our GPS binder, which stands for Guaranteed Planning Strategies, there's something that we're looking for, and it's another acronym, MRI. MRI stands for Maximum Retirement Income. So when someone comes in to meet with me, I'm going to determine all of their income sources, their assets, and their expenses in order to determine how much they need to have coming in to meet all of their hopes and dreams in retirement.
When you talk about hopes and dreams, it really makes me realize that so many of us are lax in planning for our retirement because it's scary. The unknown is scary. But to know that if we have a proper plan in place, maybe those hopes and dreams can come a reality. And that makes me excited and want to know, am I on the right path?
Well, you think about a wedding. Now, I'm sure your daughter's not old enough to get married yet. Maybe she is. But the planning process, all the ladies will know that it takes you 6 months to a year to plan for this event that's only going to last for one day. And yet very few people spend hardly any time at all planning something that's going to last 25 or 30 years. And they don't understand all the different factors. We call them the clouds of uncertainty. Inflation, taxes, health issues, Social Security issues, rebounders. How many people know what a rebounder is? Now, if you've ever watched some of the infomercials, I think his name was Tony Little, the guy with the long hair jumping up and down on a little trampoline, that's not what I'm talking. A rebounder is when one of your kids comes back to live with you. We actually have in our book a written guideline. If that happens, then these are the guidelines that you and your children need to live by so that you all maintain that peace of mind and you're not clawing at each other.
I have 4 kids, and I'm pretty sure I know which one it would be. My rebounder, I have one in mind. So, as we don't have a crystal ball and know what the future will bring, it is nice to know if this happens, then I have a plan. And this plan needs to be fluid, right? We have to update this plan on an annual basis.
When we meet with our clients, at the worst case, it's once a year. A lot of times I'll encourage somebody when they're first retiring, let's meet once a month. Now what I do for about 3 or 4 months, and the reason I do that is I'll give them an envelope and I want them to put every receipt, everything they buy, when they go to get gas, if they have any money left over after filling their tank, and they run in to get that Pepsi or that, whatever, that candy bar, what are they going to have left?
You know, income is a big part of planning for retirement. I want to get to that in the next segment, but don't you feel like a lot of people are intimidated? Once my salary, once this paycheck is over, then what? And what if I outlive that?
Well, again, that's part of the written income. The software that we have will mathematically prove to you based on what you want to do. So when you come in, we'll sit down and the first thing we'll find out, okay, how much are you earning now and when are you going to retire? And the second thing we'll find, let me see your Social Security report so I can see what your full retirement benefit's going to be. And then we'll ask you, if you have a pension, when that's going to start. You might have rental income or something like that, but primarily you have your Social Security, you have your pension, and you have the money you've saved in an IRA. Those three income sources are going to be coming to you for the next 25 or 30 years. We got to make sure the money that you're pulling out of your IRA doesn't run out before you've run out of life.
And we need to plan that based on timing, so it's not always, how much, but it's where and when we're pulling from these different pots of money.
Yes, there's one of the charts I use called the sequence of return risk chart. And it will show you based, again, historical numbers, because I can't predict what's going to happen in the future, but we can create plans that have guaranteed income. I mean, once you start it, you can stop it, you can alter it, but you can't outlive the plans that we set in place for you.
The written financial plan that you have sitting in front of you, other advisors charge $1,000, $2,000 or more for. This is a gift for the viewers of the show only, and that number is 844-546-1009. When you pick up that phone call, you're going to get somebody on the phone on your end that's going to tell them exactly what they need. Take all the worry out of this process.
Yes, and when they come in, every person that comes in for a 30-minute meeting face-to-face is going to walk out with this retirement planning guide. And if we never met again, you're going to have something that's going to bring great value into your life.
And I think it's so important to note that whether or not you have a financial advisor, this can still be a second opinion. Find out if you're in fact on the right path to enjoying your retirement and feeling financially secure, taking that worry out. And who doesn't need a bit of peace of mind these days? That number again is 844-546-1009. We'll go to a quick commercial break. We'll talk more about sources of income in your retirement.
There's a lot that goes into making a good salad. You need patience and the right ingredients, but you also have to take time to taste it along the way to make sure you're heading in the right direction. When I was a kid, I remember seeing my dad work 3 jobs to provide for me and the rest of my family. I watched my dad closely. I learned so much about business and how to work hard from him. All of that only grew once he started the family business in 1975. It was around that time that my mom started getting sick. I might have learned business from my dad, but it was my mom who really taught me how to deal with people, how to treat them, and how to love them well. It was in watching her provide and care for others, even in the midst of her failing health, that shaped a lot of who I am today. Mom passed away in 1988, and it was just a few years after that I started my journey into the financial world by launching Asset Guard. I wanted to be different. I wanted to bring everything I had learned from my mom and dad into this company. I wanted to add a personal touch, an intentional effort to build relationships with our clients in an increasingly distant and digital world. This isn't just something I have been able to accomplish with my clients over the years, but my son and daughter have also come alongside me to help provide for our growing financial family. It's truly been a blessing being able to be so involved in our clients' lives. I've made so many new friends and lasting relationships, and have even sat at deathbeds of a few of them who have passed away. It takes patience to build a stable financial future. You also need to make sure you have the right ingredients to make your money last. But the most important part about your finances are the people that they help sustain. We really care about those people, and we want to do whatever we can to help them. Making a good salad can be an amazing thing, but it means nothing if you have no one to enjoy it with.
Hello and welcome back to Are You Ready? I'm Sarah Peterson here with Mike Carpenter of Asset Guard. And before break, we were talking some about this process that you do, and I want to get back to this with your clients about having them sort of in the beginning of their retirement track their spending.
When you first retire, the first month you're almost thinking you're still working. You get up the same time, and sometimes you might even get dressed and go out the door forgetting I'm retired. But your spending habits are going to change. You might not be spending as much on lunches or buying clothes that you would have to wear. So what I do is I give them envelopes for 3 months, and every purchase they make, even if it's $1.50 drink, you put that receipt, write it down, and that's going to help me establish a buying pattern so that I can help you determine one of the most important elements of your retirement is knowing how much money you're spending. Because if you don't know how much money you're spending, then you just can't guess at it. A lot of people retire and they think, again, I have $200,000, I'm just going to live off the interest. Okay, what if you don't make anything in 1 year? Are you going to, let's say you were pulling $10,000 out and you don't make $10,000, are you now going to cut $10,000 of expenses? No. I mean, there's a lot of these elements that people don't think about that I do.
Well, and I'm even feeling it psychologically as you're talking. I'm thinking, I might not want to know. I don't want to put those receipts in that envelope for fear that you're going to tell me, oh, hey, you're spending way too much. But I would actually rather know, am I on the right path or not?
Well, ultimately, what I'm trying to get to is most people, again, they've suppressed those things they've wanted to do, whether it's that dream Hawaii trip, or I had a client that went on an 80-day cruise. I mean, 80 days, he went on a cruise for 80 days. I couldn't stand to be away that long. But there's many times where I'm able to tell somebody, hey, you're not going to run out of money. What else do you want to do? And that starts uncovering, well, I wanted to do some ministry projects, so I wanted to go do this or do that, and I didn't think I would be able to do it. Well, I'll plug those in and show them, look, you're still not going to run out of money, and there's still going to be money left behind for your children or your grandchildren, because our spending habits change in retirement. It's not money you're spending on your kids, it's now your grandkids. I was reading in Proverbs today, and it said, a wise man leaves money to his children's children, their grandchildren. That's who almost every client says, I want to leave something to my grandchildren. I've only had one client in my entire career say, I want my last check to bounce. Everyone wants to leave a financial legacy.
You know, when you have a big family, you realize everybody's needs are going to be different, right? I look at my 4 children and the youngest is only 7. I don't know where her life is headed, but I do know that I would like to be prepared for whatever they need throughout their life in ways maybe that my parents weren't able to. I'm sure they wish that they could have. So we always sort of want to do better for the next generation. And I think in order to do that, we just need to get better about planning and being prepared instead of trying to visit things after the fact.
As a part of my planning process, now once I have your plan secure, I'm going to say, now Sarah, what about your grandkids? What kind of planning are you doing for them? Because could you imagine, with the way inflation's going now, for a grandchild, and I know you're ways away from it, but even your 7-year-old, what is she going to need to have when she's 60 years old? I mean, the number's almost astounding to think about. And one of the things I ask a lot of younger people when I'm flying, I'll ask people in the airport, and I'll say, what do you think about Social Security? And the number one answer I get, it's not going to be there. So if it's not going to be there, how much do you need to be saving to have that magical number that's going to take care of you the rest of your life? And I can do a backwards financial planning on any age bracket to help them know, okay, if Social Security is not going to be there, then this is how much you need to save. And if I'm working with a grandparent, I said, hey, how could you handle that? How could you leave such a financial legacy? And that's where life insurance comes into play. Because you can establish that. If your health is right, you can establish an estate for your family to live off for generations to come.
What percentage of people don't even have an estate plan? I mean, it's astounding.
The majority. I mean, literally, I would say 80% of clients that I see, people that come in do not have wills, power of attorneys, healthcare power of attorneys, living wills, and none of them have a long-term care directive, which can be a part of another. All of our clients can, but I've never seen anyone have a long-term care directive. It's a lot like a living will or it's basically plug me in, unplug me. It's when you have a health issue, this long-term care directive tells your loved ones, if something happens to me, this is how I want to be cared for. It's all part of the estate plan, and it's inside of the book.
It's sort of like we don't want these things. We don't want to think about these things sometimes, but when you have a plan in place, then a lot of times you don't need the plan, but at least you have one. So that's what we only hope for. I mean, amazing to me how many people don't have a POA, healthcare proxy. I mean, they don't even know who their designated beneficiaries are, and that's extremely important.
And you need to know things like I'll have the lady I referred to earlier where she had her 5 kids. All 5 of her kids were executors. That's too many chiefs. I mean, you need to have one chief. I mean, if you don't trust your kids, then choose somebody else. But I've had clients that have named 80-year-old friends as their executor. Well, how many 80-year-olds have ever settled an estate? Very few. So when we put this together, part of it's, one of my jobs, and I make this commitment to everybody, is when that time comes, I'll go with your surviving spouse or your children to the probate clerk. If we've done everything correctly here, it's one visit. And inside is my phone number here. They can call me anytime, and I'll be right there. This is part of the added value that we bring to our clients.
This is not only holistic in terms of financial, but it's holistic in terms of whole self. And I'm feeling that from you, because I think what this does is take a lot of that fear and anxiety out of something that already has enough of that, right? And when you're dealing with grief and all these other emotions, let's take this out of it, right? And all that takes is a proper plan. I just want to make sure I give that phone number again. It's 844-546-1009. This is not a commitment to work together. This is simply a conversation and a way to find out, are you on the right path to getting to that retirement that you dream of? Are you going to be financially secure? Have you planned well enough for yourself and your family? And who would not want to know? Please stay with us. We're going to take a little commercial break, and we'll come back and talk more about sources of income and planning for your retirement.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Hello and welcome back to Are You Ready? I'm Sarah Peterson here with Mike Carpenter, president of Asset Guard. And we're talking before the break about income planning and the important sources of income planning. And it has changed a lot since our parents' and grandparents' retirement.
Well, that golden parachute, that pension that was so coveted in earlier years is just not there. I typically see it with the military personnel that come in to see me. They've got pensions and things like that. But by and large, it's a dwindling income source. I mean, the average person, if I had to put a number to it, has a $200 pension. I mean, there's some that are extreme, but most people don't have any, so that's why that average is what it is. Some people, their retirement is going to mean them working. Maybe not because they have to, just because they've known nothing else for 40 or 50 years. And they might start working part-time. A lot of guys will go work at a golf course, and they might exchange their time working at the golf course for free play. I mean, there's all sorts of things that can be done.
I know you mentioned earlier that you feel like a lot of people's sort of self-worth comes from the job that they had. And I think our generation's probably even more guilty of that than most, because we do put so much emphasis on it and we take so little time to find out who we are outside of that. So maybe a better way to start planning, in addition to our finances, is taking a deeper look at what do I really want out of this next 10, 20 years of my life.
Most of us don't like pulling back the sheets, and seeing what's underneath. I mean, but in financial planning, we've got to pull that back in order to see what really makes you tick. And when we understand, the income sources are going to be what they are, but the expense portion of the retirement planning is 99% of people have never done a budget. And when I send them the electronic version of the budget, I said, don't fear it. I'm not putting you on a budget. I just need to understand your spending habits so that I can show you a plan that's going to last you your whole life.
Talk to me some about your retirement coach, because I think this is just such an innovative idea.
Darlene she was born and raised in South Africa, and she's lived and taught all over the world. And she decided late in life, I mean, the alarms went off in her head. Hey, do I want to be teaching the rest of my life? And she said no, and she found the love of this retirement coaching, because when you unlock those dreams, when you like the cocoon, that is covering that moth, when it breaks free, it now can fly free. And that's what, once your retirement plan is set, you can then break free and float around and enjoy life. And she, as much as I enjoy doing the financial stuff, as she says, her bliss in life is helping people enjoy unlocking those dreams and desires that they've suppressed their whole life.
I think once we all identify in general where we feel like our life is headed and what would make us happy, then the other cards can fall into place. But we really need to understand that component first in order to properly plan.
And those dreams might not be what I referred to earlier with Martha Stewart starting her empire in the 40s. One of our clients came to one of our events, and she came up and thanked me, and she said, after listening to Darlene, I got a violin. I always wanted to learn. At 65 years old, I always wanted to learn how to play the violin. So she's now learning to play the violin. Now she might become a virtuoso. I mean, who knows? But again, it's unlocking those things that you want to do. Each of us is different. Now, would I like to be playing golf every day down in Augusta? Well, that's not going to happen, but I could play golf other places, and I do with clients and other folks, but everyone has different dreams.
Well, and then that's the thing, and I think everybody's retirement plan is unique unto themselves, and that's why it's wonderful. This is not a book that you just print out and hand to people. This is something that we make specifically for each individual and individual household and their needs and their wants and their dreams, and this is not a cookie cutter thing. It's
So, Sarah, one of the problems that's happening right now with the markets collapsing the way they are, my clients don't worry because their money is safe. The plan we've put in place is inflation proof. But I spoke with someone the other day that said, okay, my guy sent me an email saying, just hang in there because what goes down will come back up. Well, how long is that ride going to be? When we look from 1999 to 2013, the S&P took 14 years to break even. If you're 70 years old, do you want to wait till you're 84 to get back to even? No. So, when someone comes in, we review. If our client did have a concern, I encourage them to come in. We'll go right to their plan, and I'll show them exactly how it's doing, how it's securing their future. Again, everyone has different investment choices, whether it's in the stock market, whether it's in the bank, whether it's insurance. Those are the three primary places that people have their money. Some people have rental income, and that's great, but we got to figure out which of those strategies is going to guarantee your retirement income, because none of us knows the day we're going to take our last breath. But I want to make sure that you have plenty of money in your pocket when that happens.
When you say guarantee, my blood pressure just goes down. So I feel like just taking that worry and stress and anxiety off of it, there's no guessing when it comes to this. I really would like people to understand a little bit more about what this process is like. I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call you. Then what?
Well, Sherry, one of the ladies that works for me, she'll call you and give you directions to the office. She'll give you a list. She might even email you the list so that you know what to bring. But ultimately, what I want you to bring in is what you're concerned with. If you have a life insurance policy you want me to review, I'll review that. If you have an IRA or 401k, I'll review that. Long-term care, whatever, it's important, because again, even in that first meeting, if we never meet again, I want to try to position you so you walk out of there feeling, hey, Mike helped me. I may not use him for whatever reason, but Mike helped me. And that's ultimately my goal.
You know, we talk about health and wealth being the most personal, important things in our lives. And we all go to doctors for second opinions. And why would we not want to go to a financial advisor and find out if, in fact, we are on the right path? Are we doing the right things? Do we have a proper plan in place that's going to get us to where we want to be? Or maybe we've never actually asked these questions, and now is the time.
Yep. Well, again, everybody that calls in and comes to meet with me, it doesn't need to be any more than 30 to 45 minutes. And at the very least, you're going to walk out of the office with this book, this guide. And if we never met again, which I know that we will, but this is everything from A to Z that you can have as a part of in your own possession. And then it ultimately will become a part of the guaranteed planning strategies that we'll implement when we get together again.
I think that all of us could use a bit of peace of mind in this just very unpredictable world. And what you're providing is just that. I feel like that in itself is invaluable. Other advisors charge $1,000 or more for this same process. And we love to give the gifts to the viewers for taking the time to sit with us and get educated along with us.
You don't have to worry.
That is all I needed to hear. Don't worry, be happy. I think we could all use a little bit of that in our lives. Again, that phone number is 844-546-1009. This is not a commitment, it's a conversation. It is, the only risk that you have is the time that it takes for you to pick up the phone and make that phone call. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
I always learn so much from you, and thank you for joining us on your road to retirement. We hope you'll join us on the next show. See you soon.